Good morning, everybody. Today, you know what? I haven't even prepared anything for today. Today is that kind of day where I am just going to speak from the heart. Uh, Waiting to get Instagram up and running here. Shouldn't take much more than a minute, and then I can get into it. Here we go. If you are finding that this content is helping you and you know somebody it can help, do me a favor, hit like, share it, tag the person, let them see this. Okay. Today, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't prepare for a damn thing. I haven't done anything to get ready for this. I don't even want to be on today. Just to be up front. Like minimal makeup, barely anything. Haven't done anything with my hair, stuck a ball cap on, right? Seriously, not prepared. Have nothing written out. So I'm going to talk to the heart. There are going to be days where you don't want to engage with somebody. Today, I've been now doing this, going live consistently for 3 weeks. And one of the hardest things that you are going to face when it comes to dealing with difficult people is believing that what you're doing is actually making a difference. Because dealing with difficult people, it's hard. It's not easy. And it's for as long as that I've done it and the skills that I've developed over the years, like I still will feel what I feel when I deal with somebody difficult. Sorry. I can't get away from it. It's just part of it. There's nothing out there that is going to make all of the pain, the aggravation, the frustration go away. Nothing. Except repetitively doing the work over and over and over again to you where you get to a point where you can find that you emotionally disconnect from what the outcome is, or you emotionally disconnect from what it is that you are experiencing. So that is one of the all-time goals right there. But that doesn't happen unless you're actually out there doing the work. You're actually out there putting yourself on the skinny branches and failing and then succeeding as a result of that failure. It doesn't happen until you have developed a witty repertoire of things to say in this vault and in this library that you can actually pull out at any given moment. And why do I say that you have to go out on the skinny branches? I haven't said this in a long time, actually. I haven't said it for many, many years. So I'm going to bring it back out. Coming out of the vault today. The reason why you go out on the skinny branches are the place where everything is the most fragile. There's the most greatest amount of risk in putting yourself out there, in learning and developing and growing, trying something new, like pushing the fear aside. Because what happens out on the skinny branches is that's where all the fruit is. That's where it is. All the fruit is on the skinny branches. It's not deep within the trunk where you've got a safety net and you can actually wrap your arm around and then just do like a deep reach. You gotta let go of the trunk of the tree, and you gotta crawl out into the skinny branches, and you have to face the fear of feeling the limb bend. You have to face the fear of being stuck in like the blowing wind, hanging on for your dear life in this little itty bitty tiny skinny branch while you're out there picking and harvesting the fruit. You have to. It is not easy. It really is not. Even if you work and you develop and you get better at dealing with people, you are still going to face the pressure. You're still going to face the stress. You're still going to deal with all of the emotional strife that's going to come with this. The difference about where you are today compared to where you will be when you continue to do all of the development, all the work, everything moving forward, is that you're going to be a better version of yourself that is more capable of navigating all of that. In other words, so we hear the term diminishing returns, right? It's not always a good thing, but in this case it is. The diminishing return means is that you're maturing to a point where you can better manage, you can better deal, but it doesn't eliminate anything. Because here's the truth, and I heard this from a friend of mine, and I still to this day think it was like the biggest and best knowledge bomb mic drop I've ever heard, is that the results you want are on the other side of the work you're not willing to do. Success lies on the other side of the work that you are not wanting to do. And it's as simple as that, because nothing is going to change on this side. The only way it changes if you get out there and you sweat and you bleed and you cry and you just feel everything. Difficult people are difficult for a reason, because it challenges the principles of people who are not difficult. You are literally waging a battle between principles and preferences. That's it. That's all it is. It's not a target on you. It doesn't mean that you're less than. Certainly doesn't mean you're more than, but it doesn't mean that you're less than. So just know that what you're feeling right now, as you're uncomfortable learning everything that you're learning, it's normal, and it is what you should be feeling. So don't ever let this, what is in here. This is what my friend called, I have a friend of mine down in Australia. She refers to that little chatter that's in your brain. She refers to it as the itty bitty shitty committee. Like, don't ever let this overrule what you are currently working to strive. And I have another friend that says this, that there will always be disruption before the blessing. But when you get to that disruptive part, it's because you've been doing the work. And the wonky forces of life are just out there trying to prevent you from being successful. Because the wonky forces of life don't want you to grow. They don't want you to learn. They don't want you to develop. They don't want you to be the better version of yourself. So tell the wonky forces that they can go pound sand. Seriously. So listen, if you are sitting there beating yourself up because you're trying all this stuff that I'm talking about, or you're doing something different than you ever did before in your life to try and, like, it doesn't have to apply to just dealing with difficult people. It could just be leading, growing, and developing. And what's happening is that you're not seeing anything. It's also something else that comes with all of this. You don't know what's going on in the background. And you have to start building a faith, like a deep-rooted faith, that what you're doing is starting to make an impact. And if you work on building that faith, you're actually putting more of that good out there. Because what is likely happening is that whatever it is that you're doing is making a resounding difference. Maybe not immediately, but there's a connection to what you're doing. And I promise it is out there. You don't know it because you're not getting that immediate feedback. You're not getting a dopamine hit from being able to celebrate a visible, seen, tangible victory. You're having more victories than you know. You just don't see them yet. And you know it, to be honest with you, you may never see them. Here's how I know this. When you publish something on social media, and if you have been working to publish something consistently, you've been doing it for 6 weeks straight, crickets, barely any likes. Here's what's going to happen if you maintain that consistency. Eventually, these people who are not reciprocating your post with any form of communication that's immediate and in front of you will start talking to you about what it is that they're getting as a result of what you're doing. You know how many times I've been stopped in an airport and somebody has said, I saw you on social media. I love what you have to post. Believe me, it's not something I share a lot of, and I probably should, but it's happened a few times. I have people that have never really truly gotten a chance to know me. They follow me on LinkedIn, and they'll come up to me at one of the particular gatherings that I'll be at, or a session that I'm at or something. And they'll like, I really love what it is that you're putting out there. It's like, I saw that the other day and I just thought, wow, but they didn't like the post. That's what's going to happen. I promise you. So when it comes to dealing with difficult people, it's the same thing. If you start holding somebody accountable, you start working on addressing their behavior, you start working to help them grow and develop into whatever version that they're going to become, you might get the immediate pushback. This is what you see, right? And when you get the pushback and they're not buying in and they're telling you that, they can't do it, right? There is zero dopamine to that. Zero. Big old goose egg. Okay. That is not the kind of feedback that you get. However, what's going to happen is that they're going to go home and they're going to get on their phones and they're going to text or they're going to call or they're going to be on social media or whatever. And they're going to talk about what it is that you're doing. And ultimately, somebody's going to come back and say, well, have you ever considered that they're right? It's like, if this is how you're behaving or this is how you're working, this person's obviously telling you something that you should, or there's going to be pillow talk. And somebody is going to help them realize that what they're doing is not productive. You are never going to see it, ever. Or they may be out having a quiet moment in life, or they may be out doing whatever, and suddenly they see something that reminds them of the conversation that you had. And then they may go, oh, I get it. Or, yeah, I probably should do something a little bit different. Or they'll look at it and they'll see it. And they deep inside know that you're right, but they're not willing to acknowledge it. Trust me, these things happen. Think about a time when somebody corrected you in life and you turned around and saw something similar being on the outside of the situation looking in. And it dawned on you that that's what that person was thinking. That is it. But you're not going to see that. So you have to have faith that it exists. If you don't, you're going to have a very diminished way of thinking. Instead of having a very abundant way of thinking, which abundance is all about success. And success isn't always tied to money. It's tied to growth. It's tied to satisfaction, right? If you don't, you're going to have this mindset of shortage and diminishing returns. And scarcity is actually what it is. It's a scarcity mindset. It means that you don't have enough. And that's all you're thinking about. And it's negative. And it's ew. You have to have belief that what you're doing is making a positive impact. I sit here Monday through Friday and I do this. I get on and then I take these little episodes and I load them up as a podcast. And I never see who's actually like laying hands on these podcasts. And right now, the hosting platform where I have it, then the stats are down. I mean, I don't know. They're working on the algorithm or something like that. I can't see that. But I know, because I've done it before, that after the next several months of doing this consistently, the feedback's going to be there. It may not be like overwhelming. And I think that's one of the things that we have. That's a thing about today's environment, is that when we put something out there, we have this expectation that it's going to be wildly successful. It's going to go viral. It's going to blah, 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 blah. Have you ever considered that those moments, unless you are an A-lister and have done the work and made the right connections and, like everybody that's gotten to an A-list has not gone there because they somehow magically like snapped their fingers and they were there. It does not work that way. But if you have this mindset of that what you're doing is going to be instantly and wildly successful, you have this mindset of where you're convinced that you can catch lightning in a bottle, and you might over time. Once, maybe twice. I caught it twice financially for myself right when COVID first came out. I got contracted to speak, and I was so far ahead of everybody else in the speaking area when it came to helping people navigate through COVID. The very first class that I was contracted to teach, we sold out the seats, maxed it out at 500 people. That was lightning in a bottle. And then when the laws changed, and now we had that, leave of absence law that came out. It was a temporary law. We did it again. I got ahead of it. I was the first HR professional to actually contract this type of training out. We caught lightning in a bottle again. 475 people were on. That was massive. Absolutely massive. So listen, because I'm going to land my plane here. Don't believe what you see. Believe what you don't see. And what you don't see is making a difference. It really is. So, if you're sitting here listening to this and you're like, I want to do something more, I want to learn how to deal and to navigate through all of this wild stuff, okay? And you may, and I'm going to ask you this question. Have you ever found yourself to be emotionally drained, emotionally exhausted, or feeling like you're just plain stuck because of these toxic behaviors that you're seeing in your workplace? Maybe you have noticed how dealing with difficult people is affecting not only the satisfaction that you get from showing up at work or the job or the thing that you absolutely love to do, but it's also actually starting to suck the life out of your emotional well-being. It is hard. Okay. You may even sometimes feel like your career is actually being held back, or you just may be really just tired of simply going through the motions and wishing things would improve, right? So if you want to get better at honestly, truly making an impact in the things that you don't see, and if you could honestly change this, I'm going to invite you to step into a space where you're confident in handling any difficult personality and no longer letting their behavior actually dictate your stress, dictate your mood, or professional growth. I'm going to invite you into that space, and I'm going to build a little visual here. Imagine walking up to somebody with a very clear plan. You feel empowered to have the difficult conversation and know that you are in control of the situation. And that is the main reason why I created a program called Fortitude, which is called Mastering the Unmanageable. It is a proven system. These are the things that I have been teaching for years, and I have gone through them myself, right? And it's designed to help you take back your power when it comes to dealing with difficult personalities and difficult people, right? During difficult situations. It is not about quick fixes. It is about creating long-lasting change for yourself and for the future of your career by learning how to navigate and neutralize toxic behaviors in any environment. So you have to sit here and evaluate what is the personal cost to you of staying where you are. And if you're ready to make a real change and protect your emotional well-being, I'm telling you right now, it is the time. Start building your resilience, reclaim your control, because you deserve the success. You deserve the career. You deserve the future. You deserve the life moving forward where you are not just surviving, but you're thriving. And dealing with difficult people is one of those things that will actually chip away at your confidence. It'll chip away at your sense of feeling of power and also your happiness. Okay. If you are ready for the next step, join Fortitude by jumping in and to the program and transform the way you deal with difficult people. Now, how do you get access to Fortitude? Here's what I'm going to tell you. Visit leadwithfortitude.com/program. That's leadwithfortitude.com/program. And you can get the first episode of this for only $37. And the reason why I make the first and the most important episode that inexpensive is because I want it available to everybody, especially people who have just started this, like they're at the beginning stages, honestly, of trying to turn this aspect of their world around. I want it to be affordable. So I promise you, it's going to give you the opportunity to actually work on yourself, especially if this is something that you have never done before. And I look forward to seeing you in there. So that's what we got today. All right. Promise me that you're going to start focusing and having more faith in the things that you do not see, which are the results of all of this action that you're taking. Because I know, I absolutely know, and this is how I exist moving forward. I know that what I'm putting out there is making a positive impact on people. When you have a difficult conversation with a difficult person, I promise you, you are making a positive impact even when you don't see it, even when you don't have the evidence in front of you. Just bide your time, because it is going to start to become evident, even if it's only for a moment where you get to peek behind the curtains. It really does